I thought I'd give you an update on this. Now, it works perfectly apart from it keeps setting on fire, which is a minor detail. What's happening is, when I plug in the TNC and I'm monitoring the cells, everything's working perfectly. When I then try to balance or discharge or do anything with these, start laughing there. When I plug a battery in, as soon as I plug the battery in, if the TNC isn't powered, if nothing else is powered and I plug the cells in, it's fine, everything's fine. When I plug the TNC in, if I've got one cell plugged in, it then tries to discharge it. Now, I'm convinced that this is software related. It's nothing to do with anything that I've actually built. It's purely software related. I've got to try and figure out how, why, where, when, everything else. It ain't easy because I've got to be careful that it don't set on fire. That multiplex there, I've changed that 5 times now because it keeps bursting into flames, and every single time I ain't got the camera running, which I'm a bit pissed off about because it's good. I've got one of these now. So all I do is, as soon as I plug it in, I hold that on and see what the temperature is, and that tells me if it's going to set on fire or not. So I've got a feather. Where's the feather come from? Yes, it's going well. The charge side of it, I haven't even looked at it yet, purely because, well, I mean, that's not even connected, purely because I've got to get the discharge side of it working first. If I plug all the cells in, then I plug the TNC in, it'll balance the cells perfectly. When it gets to the end of the balance, that sets on fire. This is to monitor the voltage of the cells. I would understand that one getting hot, but it doesn't. It's that one that just within 5 seconds it'll burst into flames. It's frustrating, it's very interesting, but it's very frustrating. So I have got a lot of work to do, and I've got a lot of figuring out to do, because I don't get it, but I will get there. By the time you watch this video, I'll have sorted it and everything will be perfect. It's taken me 2 days, 2 days to figure out something. What this is doing at the minute is nothing. It's going to go through and it's going to balance the cells. Now, what it does is it cycles through and it finds the minimum voltage of a cell, and then obviously it records that, and then it will go through. At the minute it's actually in check mode, just to make sure there's actually that cell, which you can just about see the light. That cell is currently not fitted, these are. So when I plug that one in, what it will do is it'll check that one, and see if any of those cells are above the minimum cell voltage. Then if they're below the minimum cell voltage, it marks the flag as true. But what I can't explain is, if it gets to the last, if it goes to, I can't even explain this. We'll say at the top of the coding, the flag is marked as true to say that they are all balanced. And then it goes through and it checks every cell, and if any one of them is over the minimum voltage, it marks it as false. But when it gets to the last one, if that one is under the minimum voltage, it then marks it as true. So this is the problem I've had, and I couldn't get I've got a logical brain, but I couldn't get my head round how the bloody hell to figure that one out. So what I've had to do is, I've got a big loop that does all the monitoring and everything else, and then within that loop there's another loop that then goes through every cell and checks to see if it's below the minimum voltage or equal to the minimum voltage, and then it marks the whole thing as flagged. It flags the whole thing as balanced. That has taken me 2 days to figure out. And as you can see, I've got a piece of ribbon here. This is a quick release, because what happens is what has been happening is it's been going through, and it gets to a certain point, it turns all the FETs off, and that starts smoking. Now I'm going to video this one because I have to pull this, just pull it, get these out, and also I have to unplug the power, because believe it or not, what happens is these go into short, complete short, and it starts smoking that even with USB power in it. So I have to be bloody quick, because that's the 8th one I've replaced. So here we go. All this is doing is balancing. Right, so they're all on apart from these here. So these are at, it says the minimum, the target voltage is 3.53 volts. So they're the lowest voltage. All the ones on the right are the higher voltages. And we've got one there at, where's the highest one? 3.96 volts. Which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's that one. Now I think I've actually got what's called a ground loop on this, whereby although it's opening all the FETs, it's only actually drawing the power from that one, which is getting hot. Yeah, that is getting hot. And they're not. Let's see, that's starting to get rather warm. It's getting warm. What's the worst that can happen? It'll set on fire. I mean, it is drawing around about 10 amps. I mean, that's at the limit of the maximum it'll take anyway. What are we on? 3.78 volts. I'm going to leave it running. What used to happen was when it had finished, the OLED display had suddenly, the voltage would completely drop off, going down to about 2 volts, and then that would start smoking. There, it's gone. Okay, that didn't work. Back to the drawing board. When I mentioned about a ground loop, I did a video a long time ago about, oh, that's still hot. I did a video a long time about explaining what a ground loop actually is, so I'm going to leave a link in the description. I've taken it all apart again, and I've taken the multiplexers off. I think, but I can't be 100% certain. What's happening is the multiplexers don't actually have a proper gate on them. They are purely, when you switch it to a particular channel. It doesn't turn the input or the output off, it just concentrates on a channel. What's happening is when the MOSFETs turn off, the current is still flowing through, and it's going through the multiplexer, and that thing will only handle milliamps. I mean, we're talking around about between, I think it's between 6 and 8 amps going through this. So what I've done is I've taken it out. Now if this still continues, and I can't for the life of me see that it will, if it does it again, it's going to pop me Teensy 4.1, which are 20 something quid, so it's going to be an expensive experiment, but I'm going to try it anyway. Now on here we have, I don't know if you can see, it says no B, which means no battery. The status is check, which means that it's checking for the cells to be inserted, and also the cell 0 means that there's no good cells in. So I'm going to put these in here, which I know works fine. Now when I connect this battery, you see at the bottom it says cells 15, and it's in check mode at the minute. So when I connect this one, these should start flashing nice purple colour. No, I'm not gay, until it gets to the end, and then it will stop. It won't do any more. It won't set on fire, it won't do anything, it'll just stop. Right, so that cell there, that's the lowest voltage cell. I'm going to make sure this doesn't get... Oh, that's a lot of current. That is a lot of current. Holy shit! That's way too much current. Way too much. Well, the teensy ain't burnt out. Right, I'm not going to be able to do them all at once because of the amount of current that it's drawing. I'll put this bit of wire in here. This is only a thin wire, just as a sacrificial thing, and that was smelling. Right, bit more programming to do, then it'll work. Fingers crossed. Let's just check the readings. The readings look alright, although I can't see anything because I haven't got my right glasses on. I've got one wire, one ground that goes here, which goes to the front FET, and then I've got one that goes back here, which both go around to the back, just to spread the load. They're both the same gauge wire. This shouldn't get hot now. I shouldn't say things like that, should I? No, that's not getting hot, so it's handling the current alright. What voltage are we looking for? 3.46 volts. 55.9 is the hottest FET, and that one, which I think is the third, yeah, that's going to get the hottest. So that's only at 54.4 degrees. That wire's not getting hot now. Ultimately, what I want it to do, I want to charge the batteries to exactly the same voltage. Then I want to put them on a discharge, and then at the end of the discharge, what should happen is they should all be exactly the same. All the same voltage. If any of them start coming back up, it means that they haven't got the power. They haven't got the power of the rest of them. So they should all settle, once it's been discharged, they should all settle at the same voltage. Capacity wise, I'm not really too bothered. I'm going to do a runtime check on it just to test. But what should happen is the first one that hits the lowest voltage, the storage voltage or whatever, 3 volts or whatever it is, they all cuts out then, and then I'll know if any of them are weak cells. The trouble with this is what it's doing now is it's draining it down slowly, and when it gets down to a certain point it will then stop, and then if the voltage comes back up it'll drag it back down again, and it'll keep dragging it up, dragging it down. But I don't know if any of the cells are actually weak. Hopefully that makes sense. It makes more sense to discharge them to a certain point and see if any of them are at a different voltage than actually do a capacity test on it, because all these cells are brand spanking new. I don't need to capacity test them. I need to know, number one, the runtime on it, and number two, if any of them discharge before the others. That's all. Whoa, 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 whoa. Fire, fire, fire. Yeah, that got a bit hot. 87, that's not... Oh. It was these. You know those times where you think you've got everything planned for an emergency. When the emergency happens, it goes out the window and you go... Ah! Yeah, maybe constant on wasn't a very good idea, Tony. Whoa, 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 no, 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 no. Sorry, I didn't change the timer back, did I? It's just started to smoke again. This is what I've been doing for the past 2-3 weekends. Trying to get this bloody thing sorted, and it's just a bone of contention now, and it's got to be. I've got to do it. I haven't got a choice now. I've got to do it. I haven't put a fan on this for the reason of I don't want one. I want this to be fanless, and I want to know exactly how much it will handle before it sets on fire. So I know it sets on fire because I've tried it a few times now. Right, we're back to half a millisecond duty cycle. Sorry, half a second duty cycle. Now hopefully when they get to 3.43 volts it will just stop because that's how I've set it at the minute, because I've done nothing else. So what used to happen was it'd set on fire. If anything's going to burn, it's going to be the teensy. Number 6 there isn't even getting warm. Back to the drawing board. I think it's working. I think it's finally working properly. Oh my god, I've just burnt my hand there. Yeah, as you can see, that one's got a bit hot because it's carrying all the current. And that fet, I mean, it's still bloody, I can still feel it. Well, being the dickhead, I didn't really do many calculations. Never thought about it when they're all on. When it's got everyone switched on, it's drawing 80 amps through that. Wonder why it got hot.